Andy, that was a great win for you today. Congratulations on your accomplishment. Can you explain what was your most productive pattern as the day went along?
It was flipping bushes, whether it be willow bushes or button bushes. First period, I kind of ran some patterns that I typically catch a lot of spotted bass on, and maybe a few largemouth. That didn't work, kind of got trapped up the river behind a long no wait. So I'd already picked out where I was going from the map. I'd already picked out where I was going to go the second period. It was the back of a creek, had a lot of willow trees, a lot of button bushes, and had a few fish in there.
What was your best bait throughout the day?
My best bait was probably, it was a Strike King game hog or a jig, a homemade jig with a Strike King rage bug trailer. So I just kind of mixed it up. The creature bait probably did most of the damage, but I did catch a couple key fish by putting the jig under places that I couldn't get with a traditional flip.
I don't think you would label today as like a hot fishing action. Why do you think it was so tough out there?
It's just a clear, I've never been to Del Holla, but we know Del Holla is a really good smallmouth fishery. And any of these, this part of the country, summertime, clear water, smallmouth kind of disappear, and you have to look for largemouth. And the type of place it is with the rocks and, it's really rocky. And there was only really one good area that you could catch largemouth shallow, which was the back of that creek. So it was just the type of lake being a clear, rocky lake. The predominant fish in the lake's probably the smallmouth, and this time of year, this part of the country, smallmouth are extremely hard to catch during the daytime.
Andy, with less than an hour to go in the second period, you were in the lead by 4 pounds. Were you feeling pretty confident at that point?
Yeah, a little bit. I felt like I had a really good chance to win, especially if I could catch one more. I'd caught a 4.6 earlier in the day, and nobody else had caught one over 3 pounds. So, the odds was in my favor that nobody was going to catch one over 4 pounds since there'd only been one caught all day. So, I felt like I had a really good shot, but you never know in these things until they're over.
Knowing that there were some big smallmouths, 3 of the top 10 that have ever been caught, including the world record, have come from Del Hollow. Was that in the back of your mind that somebody might gamble, go offshore, and jack a big one?
Not really. Like I say, because it hadn't happened earlier, and I also know, Hot DeFoe's kind of taught me this, a fellow MLF competitor, that this part of the country in the summertime, smallmouth seem to disappear. Whether it be Cherokee Lake, Fort Loudon, them lakes over there that's got them, they just disappear, and this is a really similar lake to them lakes. So I knew time of year that the smallmouth fishing was not going to be good, and I kind of took smallmouth out of my game plan totally just because of the time of year and the region of the country we was in, and what type of lake we was on.
You qualified to compete in the MLF Summit Cup in a little more than 2 months. Do you think you'll be ready for the challenge?
Absolutely. I love this format. I love the style. It really fits me. How I caught these fish, I wouldn't have been able to do this in a regular tournament just because, these fish would have been beat up in practice, even if you shake them off. It was a very small area, so in a typical tournament where you practice 3 or 4 days, I would never have caught these fish. This MLF format really suits my style. I feel like I can find fish really fast, shallow, and with this format, with no practice, these fish are not pressured, they're not beat up, and it really suits my style of fishing.
It was hot though. How does that affect you, and how did that affect the results?
Well, it affects the results as, the fishing was pretty tough, and that's just, it's just the time of year and the type of lake that we was on. It's a clear water reservoir, and it was extremely hot. So summertime, deep south, that's the way it's going to be. As far as affecting us as fishermen, it doesn't really affect us. I know it don't affect me. We're mentally prepared for whatever. We fished in, I fished in 10-degree weather this year, and now I fished in close to over 100-degree heat index. So, we're prepared for that with the clothing we have, and we stay really hydrated. You know, we drink a lot of squenchers, a lot of waters. So we really hydrate the day before. And that's key, is you got to hydrate your day before, because if you get dehydrated and try to catch up, it's almost impossible. So, you know, the day before I fish, I put a lot of water in me, drank a lot of squenchers, really hydrated myself to prepare me for the next day.
Andy, this was your third MLF event and your first win in the format. Do you think the more an angler competes in this format, the more comfortable he gets and the better he gets at it?
Yeah, I don't know, you know, yeah, obviously the more you compete, the better you're going to get. But I think you really take a huge step after you compete just one day. I know I did. After competing just one day, you know, I really felt like I knew how this format would work, you know, and what I had to do to prepare. So, you know, there was a huge step from after the first day I competed in this format versus, you know, now. You know, you may gradually get a little better, but it's not like that huge gap when it's the first time you've ever done it.
Okay, we're gonna be. A few of the anglers say that you and the MLF commissioner, Don Rux, are pretty tight. Do you want to agree with that or deny it?
I don't know what you mean by tight. Don's, he's a funny dude. He can be pretty stern with us and, you know, get what he wants out of us. But, you know, you got to have that when you got a, you know, kind of a leader of the group. You can't have a guy that's wishy-washy, and Don's definitely not wishy-washy on anything. It's kind of funny. I actually had a dream or a nightmare the night before I fished. You know, I dreamed that I'd caught like a 4-pounder, and my official, he just wasn't doing nothing. He was just sitting there. I'm like, dude, you gonna weigh this fish? He's like, man, I don't know what to do. I'm like, what do you mean you don't know what to do? And he says, I don't know what to do. Well, the whole time this 4-pounder's shrinking in my hand. And so I called Don, and I'm like, Don, this, you know, my official says he don't know what to do, man. I got this fish and he weighed, and here comes Don swimming to the boat. He's swimming to the boat, and I'm like, what am I gonna do? And by this time, this fish is shrunk to like 10 inches. Won't even keep, you know, so I couldn't even weigh him. And that was kind of the end of that dream. And then I actually had another dream that same night that I'd pulled up to a marina dock to fish, and Don was up there fishing, had a fishing rod, and I'm like, man, what are you doing? You know, well, you know, we're competing, and you're the commissioner, and you're fishing off the dock. And then he catches one, holds it up. Man, I bet you'd like to have this. And then I woke up. It's probably good that I woke up, because things probably wasn't too good after that. But
So I think you guys are pretty tight.
yeah, I did have two, I call them nightmares, but you might call them dreams or whatever the night before.
Andy, this weekend is Father's Day. I know you're looking forward to getting back home. You've got children, including a relatively new baby.
Yeah.
How do you adjust to being a father at home and being an angler who's got to be on the road?
It's tough. You know, it's definitely different, you know, having somebody at home. But it's just what we do. You know, there's a lot of professions that men have to do that they have to travel a lot, men and women. You know, a salesman has to travel. There's just a lot of professions where guys have to travel. And, you know, this is what I do. This is how I provide for my family. And, you know, it's just, you know, it's tough, but it's just, it's part of the deal that, you know, we have to go through. Hopefully, you know, I can provide her life and provide her the opportunities to succeed in life by fishing.
Andy, do you develop rivalries out there with certain anglers? I mean, are there guys out there that you like to beat more than the other guys?
Yeah, of course, but I'm not in the name calling business. You know, you know, I don't get in confrontations, you know, but you know, things go on the water, and I just follow the way in my memory, and you know, guys that's really, really respectful. I try to be that way. And you know, I definitely remember when they do that. You know, one that comes to mind, Fletcher Showrock. You know, he actually came into the area, and it was a real small area that I was fishing yesterday. And he came into the area, seeing I was fishing there. He hadn't caught a fish, and you know, his chances of winning was pretty much none. And he's like, "Dude, I'm gonna get out of your way," and he left. So, you know, I'll remember that, and there'll be another time when, you know, when the shoe's on the other foot and Fletcher's doing good, and if I see him, then I'll definitely respect that. And then you file away the guys that don't care whether you're leading, don't care, you know, you file that away, and you know, if I go in the area to fish and, you know, didn't know they was there, and, you know, then I'll keep fishing. But you try to treat everybody the way you want to be treated, but you also keep a good memory bank of how you was treated by other anglers.
Okay, we've got time for one more. Anybody? All right, nobody else? All right, Andy, thank you very much.
Thanks, guys.